All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana. I am Jenna Cottrell. The Bills wrapping up practice here in Orchard Park. Before we get started with our analysis, please be sure to like, comment, and most importantly,
subscribe
to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. All right, Mike, we're getting closer to preseason game number 2, but something that's kind of stood out all summer is the competitiveness of practice, the jawing back and forth, maybe some of the scuffles, the kerfuffles, these skirmishes. We saw another one kind of today, between Isaiah McKenzie and Tremaine Edmonds, and again, a lot of jawing going on. I wouldn't call it a fight, but I think it speaks to just where this team is at.
Yeah, I've seen more of this year than I've ever seen. And I guess I did see one moment today where Sean McDermott sort of separated guys a little bit. Do they like it? I like the amount of competition and the amount of feistiness that goes on. These days can get long and a little tedious. This is why I say to people, I think they get more out of these live sessions, offense and defense, than they do out of a preseason game. And it is a little safer because there are quicker whistles. Now, what happened today is, so you had Tremaine Edmonds trailing against Stephon Diggs, and then Isaiah McKenzie rides by and gives him a little shot. Edmonds wasn't happy. Isaiah jumps in the middle. Now, you have to describe when the little pushing and shoving, and then when Gabe Davis jumped in, what was Gabe? I'll let you do it while I hold the microphone. What was he doing?
He
was.
Jump back, punched, and then jump back.
And it was, okay, what level of real? I don't think fight.
I think it was
real.
more real for Tremaine.
Yeah.
But for the offensive guys, I mean, Diggs, Isaiah, Gabe, like you can just tell they love getting under guys' skin.
Nonstop. And then McKenzie, who we know is like the smallest guy, the play ends, Diggs makes a great catch in the corner for a touchdown. They all go crazy. Isaiah flies over and pushes, was that Tremaine again? Did he come back over? No, it was a defensive back.
Yeah.
That he came.
I'm trying to remember.
Isaiah.
Oh, it was Taron.
Taron Johnson, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what goes on. Again, I find it to be a positive as long as it's controlled.
Yes.
I don't really love when Josh Allen was trying to throw some punches, whatever level that was at camp. But these guys do it, and I'm telling you, no one loves it more competitively than Diggs.
Yeah.
And Isaiah just gets his 2 cents in there all the time. These guys are ready to play, not necessarily the preseason games, but they are ready to play another team.
I think 2 things that are something that come to mind. One, Isaiah yelling at Tremaine Edmonds is like a chihuahua barking at like the biggest dog you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny to see him jawing, and then looking at the height difference is just comical. And then also we got to ask David Questenberry, one of the veteran offensive linemen who's just coming in from Nashville, he was with the Titans, about what it is when you see that level of competitiveness, you see that level of chirp, and he's like, look, I have siblings, so I kind of get it, where he's like, you love them, but you love them so much that sometimes they get under your skin.
No doubt. And the other thing that he added was basically, you better strap it up and be ready in these practices. I sometimes wish you guys got to see the practices like we do, especially during camp, because it is really competitive and it is feisty and guys get ticked off. Much like you might see in a pickup basketball game amongst friends. But ramp up the level of certainly talent, and then competition is so much higher. And I think this is where this comes out in them. If Stephon Diggs is lining up against the Broncos defense on Saturday, sure, he wants to beat the guy. You don't know what the defense is. It's more about the play, all that stuff. He scores a touchdown, it's great. When he beats whatever corner it is, whether it's right now the rookies or if Trey was on the field or whatever it is, I think they get more out of it. I think because they know each other so well. I think it's great. And I think McDermott kind of rides that line a little bit because it does get sometimes where you step back and you go, is this real? Is this not real? But I think at least from what we see, it ends at a certain point.
Yes.
Probably when McKenzie stops talking, but it ends at a certain point.
And the reason we can't show you this video is because we're not allowed to shoot this portion of practice. So it's not that we aren't sharing the video, it's just something that the Bills like to control in terms of that.
And I just want to add, this is not training camp at St. John Fisher. There are no fans here.
Yes.
So while fans sometimes can shoot some of that video, you guys may have gotten it on your own. We can't. The team does. They don't usually show it.
Yeah, they're not
That's the way it goes.
That. That's okay. Let's talk about some other guys that are standing out, and I think we need to talk about the rookie corners.
Benford. Let's start with him.
Yeah.
Had a pick 6 today, took it back. Was he high-stepping? Sort of high-stepping.
A little bit, yeah.
He was excited. The whole defense lit up. Here's the question I have for you, Jenna. We see Kyer Elam, number 1 pick. We see Benford, 180. Were our expectations just higher on Elam and lower on Benford?
Correct.
That it makes it look like Benford's been the better player at camp.
I think expectations frame a lot of the ways that we view players.
Yeah.
And especially that first round pick, Elam being taken 23rd overall, Benford not being taken until the 6th round. I think maybe we expected right out of the gate, maybe the starting expectations for Elam in practice are a little higher.
Yeah.
And then I think the ceiling or the floor for where we thought Benford would be was just so much lower. But I'm telling you, Benford has been persistent. He has been physical. And I feel like he's one of those guys that you just notice him.
Yeah, when you look up, you're like, there he is again. And it surprised everybody in the beginning. It's literally, let me see if I got it here. Where I got my card. I was looking for my, I got it right here. So in the beginning of camp, you're like this. You're like, oh, who is that? This is, oh yeah, that's right. It's the rookie from Villanova. That's the way it starts out.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, oh yeah, it's Benford again.
Yeah.
And he's got something, there is something about him. And look, you talk to him and he feels like he belongs. Now, I asked the question of Leslie Frazier today.
I love this.
Well, I asked him about, Leslie played the position on maybe the greatest defense of all time, the 85 Bears. And I said, basically, you know what's coming because this is not the regular season. That's not Cooper Kupp. As great as Diggs is, it's not in a real game with Cooper Kupp and they're playing for you. And he's like, basically what he says, I'm trying to get them ready for this because it's not. No matter how much they try to replicate what the regular season looks like, preseason is not it and practice is not it. You get out there in LA on that Thursday night, it's a whole nother world. And I think Leslie is trying to keep their eyes open. It's great they have confidence.
Yes.
But I don't know if they know what they're walking into yet.
I think that was the way you phrased the question of they don't know what's coming yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfect because as rookie corners, they are going to be tested early and often. And like you said, you can't really recreate what you're going to get as much as the Bills try to do that in live sessions and all of those things. But I just feel like that's something. Where do you expect to see now as the summer progresses? Do you expect to see maybe, Benford coming up and splitting reps with Elam? Where can people kind of place their expectations now as the summer progresses?
I would say this. We've still not seen Tre'Davious, and we're at practice today.
Yes.
He's in rehabbing. He hasn't been in uniform yet and practicing. So let's go under the assumption, and this is just me assuming because Leslie was saying today, we hope that he's having back.
Yeah.
We hope it's sooner rather than later, all those things. They're all just waiting. But let's just say for week 1, he's not ready to go. Okay. So I think Dane Jackson has established himself based on what he was saying. I think he even said, he's ahead of these other guys. Yeah. On that other side, you can't keep Benford off the field. I'm not saying he's definitely the starter. And I'm not saying that right now it wouldn't be Elam, but Benford is playing. Yeah. I think he's going to get snaps. I think maybe they mix him in there. I don't know who's, the number 1 pick may get the benefit of the doubt.
I think, yes.
Start the game. If the game was tomorrow, one of those guys I think is starting at the corner. But that Benford is going to be on the field. He has shown that ability to be able to do that. So, I think they feel that way. And that 1 round and 6th round have come together. And I think that's more of a credit to Benford, him being so good.
Yeah.
You can have patience with Elam, and they still can. But when you're getting pushed by another rookie, I find that to be really interesting. And it still doesn't preclude them from going out and getting a veteran at the end of camp.
Correct.
But right at this point, that kid is going to be on the field for a lot.
Well, I wanted to watch the body language, too, of Kyer Elam. When Benford took back that pick 6, everyone was hyping up. Everyone was cheering. Elam was to the side by himself, and I was like, interesting. Then he walked over. He dapped up Christian Benford. So I was like, okay, but I would imagine, look, I played beach volleyball, and I'm like, I see my friend make a good play. I'm like, that's great. I want to make a good play.
Which one of your friends makes a good play in beach volleyball?
You don't know them. I wish it was me.
Do you make good plays in beach volleyball?
I make funny comments.
Okay, so
I contribute in that way.
But you're right. But we have seen those guys all staying after practice, all working together. They're tight. They're in this together. But one guy does have the weight of being a number 1 pick. Yeah. He does. I mean, we can't. That's a real thing. Yeah, I think that's a real thing, and I think it's a real thing for Sean McDermott and the defense only because this guy, you expect big things out of him, and he may be that guy.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do anything to mess with Elam's confidence going into this season. And if the fact that he's getting pushed that way by another rookie, hey, that's the NFL. There's always somebody pushing you.
That's life, and I think because of wanting to keep Elam's confidence high, maybe he would get the start to kind of preserve that. But yeah, you're going to get pushed all the time, and I think that's, like you said, that is life in the National Football League. All right, speaking about life in the National Football League, we saw today at practice, the Bills really working on situational things, being at 3rd down, 6. And they kept kind of honing in on that, what they do, what they play calling, that type of stuff. And I know we talked about it's not a preseason game, all that stuff, but just how important is that work?
That's what they do. They get into those details, and it's controlled, right? But they're saying to themselves, 3rd and 6. You watch the games. How often? There's a lot of times you got 3rd and 6. It's one of those distances, down and distances, that I think they got a series of plays. They want to see what they like, how those things work. I find that to be, you can work on goal line, 4th and 1. You can work on 3rd and 15 for those moments when you've got to make a play. But 3rd and 6, I don't know the exact number of times it happens, but it's a lot. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That's a big thing. And I love the way they create those circumstances. They know the plays they want to go to. You know, we saw Ken Dorsey off to the side. I guess on the practice field, that's his version of being up in the booth. And he's doing that. But this is what they want to work on. These are the things teams do when it's rep after rep after rep. I think it certainly makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it does. It's just preparing you for the situations you're going to see in the game. And those are the situations that are uncomfortable at times, where you know you need to make a play. The defense knows you need to make a play. How do you feel about that? And, I mean, it makes sense. We know Sean McDermott is such a detail-oriented guy. But I always do love watching stuff like that because that to me feels like the most impactful way to practice.
Yeah, because, you know, in the old days, I think the practices were much less situational. It was more on working on certain physical things. There was a lot of hitting, and it was scrimmaging, offense versus defense. I think now things move quicker, and it's more, let's work smarter, not longer, is what they do. So that was what they were, again, tomorrow it might be different. Tomorrow it might be 3rd and long. Tomorrow maybe, we did see a little more Case Keenum today. He's in with the ones a little bit. Threw a beautiful ball on a wheel route to Duke Johnson. Settle down, everybody who wants to make Matt Barkley the number 2 quarterback. Case Keenum is number 2. He's going to be number 2. I know he didn't have a great game with the backups against basically the Colts' number 1 defense. And he admitted a couple of throws he wanted back. Nice one to Duke Williams on that little wheel route. Duke caught the ball, brought it in.
That was a nice throw.
It was.
That was really nice. Another guy that kind of stood out to me, Isaiah Hodgins, and we've talked about him a little bit, pulled one in for a touchdown.
On Cam Lewis. He goes up and gets the ball.
He does.
He's good on the contested catches.
Dan buried him with that comment about saying he was shocked he caught the ball. He's made some really nice catches.
No, again,
he needs to, though.
He does, and it's going to be an interesting battle there. Jake Kumro has been a guy that has been thought of as being on the roster. I can't imagine that Hodgins isn't pushing him. I know special teams play a huge part, but they're not going to give up on a young talent that they like, who gives them a little something extra with his size. I mean, he's what, 6'2", 6'3"? I don't know what he's listed as. He's taller.
6'3" it seems too tall. I feel like he's probably 6'1".
Okay. But he plays bigger. He goes up and gets the ball. Now you're going to look it up.
Now I'm going to look it up.
I saw
AJ.
Epinesa flashed today. Got right in Josh's face on a play. And you can tell when the coaches respond, the other players respond, they know that guy was the key to the play. Like Allen would have been sacked or had to throw in the ball. How tall?
Damn it, you're right.
6'3", right?
6'3". He's 6'3". I guess when he's just next to the lineman, he looks so much shorter.
It really is. You just need to see him next to Isaiah. You'd think he was 6'8".
I look 6'8" next to Isaiah.
He's so small. But I think that's him talking. You hear? Oh, it's just a dog barking.
Just a dog yapping. It seems
that
very
That is Isaiah.
similar.
Yak, 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 yak.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will be coming up, obviously, for the preseason game against the Broncos as well. We'll have an update more on what the starters are doing. Sean McDermott is supposed to talk tomorrow as well. But to keep all your updates for the Bills, be sure to subscribe to the Buffalo Plus channel on YouTube. You look like you wanted to say something.
No, I was being quiet.
Oh. That makes me uncomfortable. Oh, see, you did want to add something.
Make sure to like, comment, and
subscribe.
Look at that. See? She's got it.
It is so hot also. It was supposed to rain. It didn't rain, which I'm not complaining about it not raining. It's V hot. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. For Mike, I'm Jenna. We'll catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus.